This PC right here comes at a mid-range price point, and this is the Skytech Chronos gaming PC provided by Intel. So in this video, let's unbox this, check out the build quality, run through the list of specs, and play a few games to see how the performance is with this build. All right, so let's pull the PC over here, and we can see some straps over here that we can cut. Boom. Okay, so we can remove this outer cardboard. Here is the Skytech Chronos gaming PC box itself. Let's cut the tape at the top of the box, and there we go. And then the sides of this box as well. Okay, so right on the side, we have a couple boxes of accessories, and I'm gonna put this box on the floor so I can pull out the PC itself. All right, so inside the box, we get some documentation, a maintenance guide, a troubleshooting guide, quality control certificate, the Wi-Fi antennae, mounting accessories for the cooler. Inside this box looks like a mouse as well, which is pretty nice that they include this. And then over here is a keyboard. Seems like pretty standard gaming peripherals. All right, so let's remove the foam on this PC and see what we're working with. All right, let's remove the tempered glass side panel. We got some Instapack sealed air in here. Love to see that. As well as some more styrofoam. All right, so let's take a look at build quality and cable management with this system. So right off the bat, I noticed all the parts are fully seated and everything is also screwed in as well. Cable management is superb, and I love the use of zip ties all throughout the build. I can also see many of the AIO cables routed underneath the screws of the cooler, which keeps a really nice and clean look. Case cutouts are used to minimize visibility of cables, and I even noticed some hot glue holding down the RGB connectors on the RGB headers to ensure that they don't come loose during transit. The other side of the case is a very similar story, with zip ties being used to route the cables nicely, and we can see some super clean straight lines from all the cables, and the excess cables are tucked in right above the hard drive bay. So overall, incredibly clean cable management. I love the attention to detail, especially with that hot glue. So let's turn on this PC. Ooh, right off the bat, I noticed the RGB on the Intel Arc A770. That is so nice. And then the RGB is appearing for this strip right here on the Skytech Chronos case, as well as the RGB fans. We successfully booted up to the Windows setup. Now let's peel the plastic on the pump block right here for the AIO, as well as on the tempered glass. So while we wait for games to download, let's talk about the specs in this system. So this case is the Skytech Chronos case in white. Design-wise, I really love the look of this PC. So you get a mostly white case with this Skytech Chronos case, and then RGB accents with the fans, this strip on the case, as well as the GPU with the RGB ring and the RGB fans on that as well. The power supply cables are black, the motherboard and the RAM are gray, and you mostly get neutral black and white colors, so you can easily change up the design of this build by changing the RGB lights and customizing this to a color scheme of your choice. I definitely prefer these more neutral color schemes when it comes to pre-built PCs, because it gives you more optionality to customize it in the future, and you aren't stuck with like one color scheme. And it features a mesh panel at the front, which should allow for great airflow. Speaking about airflow, there are 4 RGB fans in this case, 3 intakes at the front bringing in fresh air, and 1 exhaust fan at the back removing all that heat. I love to see mesh panels on PC cases because it allows for less restricted airflow, and generally speaking, better airflow means cooler temps, and cooler temps generally means more performance. And while we're on the topic of performance, the CPU in this build is the Intel Core i7-12700F paired with the Intel Arc A770 with 8GB of GDDR6 VRAM. And this is an amazing combo because you get a 12th gen Intel Core CPU as well as an Intel Arc A770 that should provide amazing performance in many of the latest titles, playing at 1080p and 1440p resolutions. Since launch last year, Intel Arc GPUs have gotten better and better with consistent driver updates, including one improving the performance of DirectX 9 titles like CSGO, which we'll be playing a bit of shortly. For storage, this has a 1TB PCIe 4 NVMe SSD. RAM is 16GB of 3200MHz DDR4 RAM. The power supply is a 650 watt 80+ gold unit, and the motherboard connecting everything features a B660 chipset. And we cannot forget a 240mm AIO liquid cooler, cooling down the i7-12700F. All right, so we just finished up gaming with the system, and performance is top notch. So first off, we played some Minecraft, and gameplay at 1440p resolution with the highest settings was incredibly smooth. I loaded up a creative map and had no issues flying around and fighting skeletons, zombies, spiders, and other mobs. After that, I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is a slightly more intense game. I also played at 1440p resolution with the highest settings. The complex shadows and lighting make this game a bit more graphically intense, but I definitely did not have any issues grappling walls, aside from my palms getting super sweaty. And another game I tried out with this system was CSGO, and if you remember before, CSGO is one of the DirectX 9 games where the performance has been drastically improved with driver updates, and this high frame rate paired with a high refresh rate monitor can give you a competitive edge, especially games like CSGO where you need the most amount of frames to win gunfights. So overall, I'm really impressed with the performance of this system. I mean, it's rocking an Intel Core i7-12700F with 8 P cores, 4 E cores, and a max turbo frequency of 4.9 GHz, and that's paired with an Arc A770 GPU, which of course is Intel's first iteration of a discrete GPU, but you don't have to sit around to experience great price to performance. And on the topic of price to performance, this system usually goes for around $1,300 USD, but I've seen it on Amazon go for about $1,100. To recap this PC from Skytech, cable management is awesome. I love the use of zip ties, and the fact that they conceal many of the cables also goes to show the attention to detail with this build. Airflow is superb with this case, considering there is a mesh panel at the front with 3 intake fans bringing in cool air. And spec-wise, they're using high-quality consumer-grade products like this 240mm AIO to cool down the CPU and a 1TB PCIe 4 SSD. The RAM's in dual channel, the airflow setup is great. I think for roughly $1,300, it's really hard to beat a system like this when it comes to price to performance, where you have a powerful CPU and GPU combo. And I think it's also really interesting to see how you can configure a really great value all Intel system. So if you want to check out this Skytech Chronos gaming PC, I'll leave a link in the description section of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again to Intel for providing this PC. And if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe.